Guys, this is the lecture series on Introduction to Machine Learning using Python. Although we have used the term Introduction to Machine Learning, but this course will cover almost all the machine learning techniques and their practical implementation in Python. Myself, Dr. Dibya Bora. Well, in our class, we have seen what are the different types of data and about data set. And in our Python course, we have gone through different ways to deal with those data, okay, import and export of them. Now, in today's class, as this is the first class in this practical machine learning, our topic is data visualization techniques. By the term, you already know that data visualization techniques means those techniques which will actually give us the internal details about the data. And internal details is nothing but the distribution of the attributes. Okay. So today the first technique is histogram. Well, you will find the use of histogram in almost everywhere. Either it is pattern recognition or your image processing. Everywhere you will find this very useful. So, what does it mean by histogram? Histograms is the way of grouping the data in bins, and of course this is the fastest way to get idea about the distribution of each attribute in the dataset. And some characteristics of the histograms are it provides us a count of the number of observation in each bin created for visualization. Then, from the shape of the bin, we can easily observe the distribution, that is, whether it is Gaussian, skewed, or exponential. Whether the distribution is Gaussian, whether the distribution is skewed, or whether the distribution is exponential. Well, I want to know whether you are familiar with these distributions or not. You might remember that I have already described these distributions. If you know, then do comment it. Then, histograms also help us to see possible outliers. And in our data mining class, we have seen that outliers are those values or those points which are far away from our normal distribution or which are far away from our normal data points. Clear? Now, as this class is the practical session, so we will go through how to generate histograms in Python. For that, we are going to import some data and we are using pandas for that. As you know that panda is used for what? We have already discussed these things. Panda help us to what? Data manipulations. Now, what we are trying to do? We are trying to read those data from our own device in somewhere or in some particular folder. And that data is in the form of CSV. CSV stands for comma separated values. Well, you may comment what does it mean by CSV. So from pandas import reach CSV and the path is this particular path where this particular file is given. Given means stored. Okay. You need to give the full path. Then we are using this data set. Pima Indians diabetes. Well, you have to know about this data set. This data set, actually Pima Indians diabetes data set, describes the medical records for Pima Indians and whether or not each patient will have an onset of diabetes within 5 years. The fields are PRAG stands for number of times pregnant, PLAS stands for plasma glucose concentration at 2 hours in an oral glucose tolerance test. PRES stands for what? Diastolic blood pressure. Okay. Then skin, tricep skin fold thickness. Then test 2 hour serum insulin. Then mass body mass index. Then PD, that is diabetes pedigree function. Then age in years. Then class in class variable. That is 1 tested positive for diabetes, 0 tested negative for diabetes. This is very important. And columns, 6 pregnancies, 148 glucose, 72 blood pressure, 35 skin thickness, 0 insulin, 33.6 BMI, and 0.627 diabetes pedigree function, and 50 age. So this is all about our PIMA Indian diabetes dataset. I have described this, I have illustrated this now because we are going to use this dataset. We have read this part. Now we are going to read this data and store this in a variable data. For that, we are using the function readCSV that is being imported from where? Pandas. Clear? Now, in this function, that is readCSV function, what we are passing is path, where exactly that dataset is, and names is names. Now, only this function required data.hist. Hist is the function for plotting the histogram. So open your spider and type this code. You can take a screenshot of this to help you code this in for our practical session. So take a screenshot and then type this. So you know that we are using spider Python IDE. So this is our code. We have type it. You see names, preg, plus, press, skin, taste, mass, predi, s, class. These are the things that we have discussed. We have stored this data in data, this particular variable, and we now plot the histogram. Okay. So these lines of code we are going to execute. So execute them. This is the console window. You will see that they are executed successfully. If something wrong, then you will get a comment for that. Now, this particular code data.hist for the plotting of histogram. Execute it. Now it's executing. See, it's going on. This is the output. You see this, the graph, age, class, mass, and different petty pass, and all these attributes being shown, how these values for those attributes are distributed in that data set. So this is our histogram output. Clear? So I hope now this practical is also clear to you. You just need to remember data.hist function, and here as we are reading the CSV file, so we have used read CSV function from pandas. Clear? So I hope the concept about histogram is clear. I am repeating the definition again. So histogram is the way of grouping the data in bins. Okay, remember the term bin. Okay, and this is the fastest way to get about the distribution of each attribute in the dataset. Well, this is very clear from the output. Clear? From the output is very clear. It is showing all the attributes distribution in the dataset. So, from the shape of the bin, we can easily guess that